morning, everyone. It's my great pleasure to have you here with us. And I will like to introduce Daniel Bent, who will be introducing the first speaker, and then Alan Pisky will be introducing the second speaker. So I'll leave the floor to you. Thank you.
Good morning. Today we have a speaker from Zurich, from ETH Foundation, Antonino Cassarà. A couple of words about Antonino. Studied physics at the university in Catania, and he graduated in 2004. And he moved to Rome to pursue his PhD in physics at the Sapienza University, and he graduated in 2008. And he was a visiting scholar at Lawrence Berkeley National Laboratory in California and at PTB in Berlin, Germany. Then he moved to Zurich and he joined ETH Foundation as a postdoctoral fellow. And since 2017, he is ETH's project leader for neurostimulation. So his main research activities include investigations related to prediction of safety and performance of neural interfaces for bioelectronic medicine and brain stimulation, as well as, which is particularly interesting, personalization and optimization of brain stimulation techniques. And it's a good moment to thank ETH Foundation for their amazing work on human voxel models, which is used by the vast majority of people who work on RF coil design. So thank you, and great. We are looking forward to this presentation. I think the floor is yours.
First of all, having me. Let me record some time ago out of time. So thank you, first of all, for inviting me to be here. It's a very pleasure for me and also for the ETH Foundation. Unfortunately, my directors were not able to come and they stand because of other important appointments, but they will be happy to meet in person as soon as possible. So today I will speak about Silico Modelling, an important pillar for medical innovation. I will start with a short motivation, introduce who we are, and then I will speak about tool for computational life sciences with some implications and also some conclusions. So starting with the motivation is that now probably you noticed that in the last 10 or 15 years we are surrounded by technologies that want to interact with the human body at different level to restore lost functionality or to recover function. Okay, this can be a spine implant, can be application for recovering functionality, for example, deep brain stimulation, etc., etc. And there is the big need of providing solutions that allow to design, optimize, and accelerate the placement in the market of this technology. Okay, and clearly ensuring safety of that. Okay, if you take a neurostimulation device, there is a lot to be done because if you want to restore a functionality, for example, of a muscle, of a small system, the complexity of the nervous system is very incredible. You have, if you take just a simple nerve, you want to stimulate, you want to modify the function of that nerve, you have to selectively stimulate some fascicles in the nerve, in specific nerves, and you have to modulate the activity of specific axons that are myelinated or unmyelinated, and all of them in combination. Okay, so you want to stimulate some, and you want to inhibit the function, the activity of some other ones. Then you have the problem that medical innovation is based on technologies, on devices, on interfaces. Okay, and there are all technology or conventional technology that work very well, but now there is a second generation of technologies that would like to be more smart, miniaturized, personalized even. Okay, there's new technology, for example, stent rods, new materials like graphene electrodes. So there is the need of testing the performances and the safety of these devices in a very fast way, okay? Because imagine that the traditional approach that you do the prototyping and you test hundreds of prototypes and then you go into production and is very slow. Is super slow. Also, clinical trials are very expensive. There is the need to accelerate these things. So the priorities in medical research, medical device research can be summarized in this way. There is the need to understand the mechanism of interaction. Now, I speak about neurostimulation in most of my word presentation mediated by electromagnetic fields. But this can be also other physical means, physical agent, for example, focus ultrasound is acoustic waves. Okay, so for every physics, there is the need to understand the mechanism of interaction between the physical agent and the human body at different level, understanding and quantify the degree of interest. For example, is the electric field, is the gradient of the electric field, which is the volume of stimulation that are relevant for the stimulation or the treatment, but also for safety. There is the need to accelerate the design of the devices and also optimize them for the specific application, identify where you have, for example, to apply the stimulation. You can apply to a nerve, but which level of the nerve can be different, the performance can be much different, or also the inter-subject variability can be minimized if you place your device in a very specific way. Then there is the need of facilitate translational studies. Okay, for example, you want to typically people test devices or medicine in animals, and then they want to go to humans. How can this be accelerated? How can we understand what is the impact of the what is the evolution of the performance of my device, for example, from acute to chronic stimulation. Then there is the aspect of personalization in precision medicine. You would like to be this tailored to a specific person of a specific condition. And then there is a big aspect of safety. Is the technology safe, and also is safe in a complex system, okay? Not only inside the application, how is interacting with the rest of the world, with my phone, how is interacting with the MRI scanner. So for all these things, all these aspects now can be, should be assessed in the first part of the journey of a medical device, okay, from concept to clinic. And in Silico Modelling, computational life science, now they allow to accelerate everything that is before the development. So provide proof of concept, facilitate optimization even before they have the first prototype. Okay. The first material technology you can optimize and you can assess the performance and safety of this aspect. Now, and in Silico Modelling is what we are expert of. Okay, not only on this one, but this is one of our main technologies. Who we are, I'm Antonino Cassarà, and I work for the ETH Foundation in Zurich. So the ETH Foundation is a non-profit independent organization based in Zurich. The directors are Professor Neil Kuster and the Associate Director Esther Neufeld and Miles Kapstick. So we are based in Zurich, and the main expertise of ETH Foundation are electromagnetic research. So we are expert in dosimetry of electromagnetic fields, in the development of anatomical models that are called the virtual population, and in computational life sciences. And also we are expert in developing computational pipeline for many applications. The ETH Foundation is not alone, so we are part of an umbrella that is called Z43 that include also some spin-off companies that are the main are Zurich MedTech, ZMT, that commercialize the software and hardware technologies for implant safety, and there is PEG that instead commercialize everything that is the technologies for electromagnetic dosimetry, for example, for wireless technologies. We are about 130 people in the world organization. We are located in the core of Zurich. And what we do? So we do basic research, meaning that we do our main core is to promote research and facilitate research, and driven by future needs, meaning that there is new technology coming. We would like to provide to the research community and industry the tools to accelerate those technologies. The topic I already told, we collaborate with universities, with non-governmental agencies, can be, for example, standardization groups, regulatory agencies, and also manufacturers. So we are open to anyone that would like to collaborate and would like to do research. When we provide new knowledge, we try to that spin off to be also sustainable. And I show you quickly what we do on the electromagnetic part. So on the near field dosimetry, so we develop technologies that are computational, but also phantoms and hardware to measure the near field electromagnetic field, for example, of all cell phones, probably all of the cell phones that all the technology wireless that is in this room has been tested by our technologies, by the partners. And we do electromagnetic compatibilities. We do a computational model for prediction of dosimetry of specific devices. We develop both the software and also the modeling pipeline. And we do the electric measurements because we need to provide precise parameters to the tissue models, and then we develop reference anatomical models. Customized research is the activity that we do, for example, for industry or for some collaborators, apart from research projects that we can do all the time as a research foundations. And in the context of MRI, just quickly, because this is our MRI facility, we are reference expert for radiofrequency body exposure dosimetry. We are active in temperature evaluations and also supporting thermal models, thermal damage model like SEM43. We are expert in passive implants and numerical screening, and also we are very active in implant safety, so in assessing the safety of MRI implant. We have a ETH test lab where we do for manufacture implant safety. So we evaluate the safety of implants and we provide results to manufacturer that have to decide if that's safe for MRI. And also we develop a tool that is FDA qualified for the assessment of implant safety. So we were the first one to provide tools that are permit to do this work pipeline in an efficient way. But now let's forget this and let's go back to the topic because time is passing. And what is computational life science? So computational life science, the topics are the one you see here. For example, in the context of medical technologies, here I have the problem of MRI safety. You have the problem of wireless power transfer. You have a device that interacts with the body. You have electromagnetic safety, the cell phone that interact with the body, neurostimulation, hyperthermia, focus ultrasound. Those are some of selected topics that can be part of computational life sciences. So to investigate the interaction between these devices and the human body, we develop a software that is Sim4Life, commercialized by Zurich MedTech. This is a multi-physics, a multi-scale computational pipeline. So it is a collection of solvers that allow to solve the specific physics, electromagnetic fields, or focus or acoustic or electrophysiological simulation in the complexity of the human body. Okay, so we are a generic multi-physics solver, but we do application on the specific human body. And this is a dedicated technology because you need high performance computing, you need dedicated technologies to consider the whole complexity of the human body. It means a lot of voxel, you need some time to resolve tiny implants in MRI, so the scales are very big. So you need specific technologies. We promote image-based modeling, meaning that we try, it's important to have the details of the anatomy when you try to investigate the interaction of the device together with it. So we start with anatomical images that can be derived from medical imaging, MRI, CT, or photographic images, and that one we can do personalization. Instead, we also provide reference anatomical model because for example, you want to test, you don't mind at the moment about personalization, you want reference model to test the device. We have the virtual family that are different population, pregnant models, morph models, animal models, and also possible models. We develop technologies that allow to pose the body to specific posture. This is important for specific application, for example, MRI, not for electroceuticals. We develop technology to allow the morphing of, for example, the soft tissue to cover more population, for example, body mass index. FDA requires sometimes to test some performance of MRI safety in the whole population. We develop technologies, new anatomical models. Sorry, this is a video that found out this morning that it's broken. We developed an anatomical model with high detail of resolution now, including trajectories of the main nerves, but this is important for neurostimulation. Developed the anatomical head models, that is the middle, this is the reference for brain stimulation applications. We provide tissue properties, so we curate a database of the electric properties of tissue, acoustic properties, and also heat, so thermal properties. So it means that with our technology, you can solve, you have already all the ingredients, you have only to select your device and set the simulations and run. We provide also, as I said before, tissue response model. This is the case of electrophysiological model. In the case of neurostimulation, you want to model the interaction of the electric fields, of the electromagnetic field with the membrane. So if this is spiking or a certain action is spiking, a certain neuron is spiking. So you have to model the membrane, and we provide model of membranes. And now, Simple Life is just one part of it. Now we provide more technologies, and I will show you some applications. We need to model pipelines, not just a single simulation. So we are developing, we developed this OSPARC, that is a computational platform online based, supported by the NIH, was founded by the NIH, that allow to create whole pipeline. And I will show you a beautiful application for spinal cord stimulation and brain personalization of brain stimulations. Now, my main expertise in bioelectronic medicine is because we would like to support the industry and research to develop neural interface and technologies of new generation. So we develop pipeline that allow to import cross-section images, for example, of a tibial nerve, and do the segmentation, so identify the different tissue, the relevant tissues, create discretization, create the nerve, implant the electrode, calculate the electromagnetic field, and predict the neuroelectric response to stimulation. This allows us to optimize the path shape, optimize the current injected, and assess all the performance and safety aspect. Now we can take this 2D nerve model that we created, and we can extrude along the trajectory of one of our anatomical models, and we have a complete 3D nerve model within the anatomy, including the implants. And there we can assess the safety and performance when we include also the body tissue around it. That is very important. Sorry, it's a bit. This is an example. Some industry asked us to compare the performance of two different approaches. For example, this is a median nerve with median neurovascular bundles, and the company asked us, we have a catheter inside the vessel, and we have a cuff electrode around the nerve. Can you tell us what is the performance? How much does it change the current? How much does it change the recruitment of the fiber? So we just simply can create this kind of model, and then we can provide them, and they can do all their research. We did a very good job for translational studies. So there was a company, this is Galvani Bioelectronics. They asked us, so we would like to bring in the market stimulation of neurovascular bundles of the spleen. We have a problem that we need time, we are under pressure, we would like your assistance. And so they were having data from stimulation of porcine, and they wanted to know what are the treatment parameters for humans. So we did a computational models of the porcine, we validated, we did a computational model of the human, and we translate the parameters, the stimulation parameters. And this was great because the agreement was very good with experiments, and they initiated clinical trials, accelerating of a couple of years the job. And this was very successful. Again, this one I can skip, but in short, the question is, you can also assess safety. If you have complex system, they can break. So the electrode can be miniaturized, they can break. This can assess, this can affect safety, and this can affect performances. So they want also to understand this one. Let's go to brain stimulation. There is a lot, probably you heard a lot about non-invasive brain stimulation, transcranial magnetic stimulation, electric, and other new technologies. So there is a lot of research there, and there is the need to understand, optimize parameter, optimize targeting, optimize electrode placement, and assess safety. So we tried different years ago to understand mechanisms, because we always try to approach first mechanism. So what we did, this is a computational model I did years ago, where we placed 30,000 neurons on the cortex of one of our reference anatomical model under the exposure of an electric field, and they try to correlate electric field with neuroelectric response. So shortly, the image on top where you see ETH, this one is the total electric field, and the time treatment or application of transcranial electric fields were done based on total electric field. But if you see the map of excitability, you see that is the neuroelectric response of the body, of the neurons. You see that the regions where the stimulation is really effective is different. So this is a fast idea of where things can be, but we need much more. This is not sufficient. The brain is very complex. It's not only single neurons, but it's neural networks. It is much more complex than that. So then we start to say, okay, we should do much more. So we started with trying to target personalization of health modeling. Okay, so we started to develop computational pipeline that allow to take input of T1, T2, so medical image based MRI, do segmentation, add operation, application of the electrodes, assigning tissue properties based on anisotropy, like the Took approach, and simulating the electromagnetic field. And our final goal, we are still working on it, is to do signal prediction, for example, of EEG or MAG and other signals. So we can not only simulate where stimulation is happening, but also predict what can be the brain response. So we develop a segmentic that is our own pipeline, segmentation pipeline, that is very accurate and very fast, in the order of a couple of minutes. You can have, if you have T1 and T2, or only T1, you can have a segmentation with about 16 tissues. And then we can assign the tissue properties based on DTI. If you don't have, we assign based on ETH low frequency database. We can assign automatically the electrode placement based on the 1010 system. And now we are trying to move more. As I said, we want to model the brain response. So we are trying to couple the virtual brain, that is our neural network model, together with our technologies that allows them to personalize the electromagnetic exposure and also personalize the brain response, for example, for predicting EEG or other quantities. And we are doing a lot of work also in, we have been doing a lot of work on trying to solve inverse problems like EEG and based on reciprocity theory, something that is totally new. We've been working a lot on temporal interference stimulation. Just this is a successful story. So this was a new way of brain target stimulation based on the application of multiple electric field, so multiple current at different frequencies. And the idea is that if you have, for example, a current of 1 milliamp, at 1 kilohertz, at 1 kilohertz, and then you have a superposition of the fields in the brain, and there is an amplitude modulation at 10 hertz. So the idea is that as the neurons are more excitable or respond better to low frequency, only in the region where there is the largest amplitude modulation, there can be stimulations. And this is intrinsically deep stimulation because you have the maximum superposition deep in the regions. So we were partner in that publication of 2017. Since now the research has exploded, so we developed tools and technologies to support this research, like a planning tool that is an online-based pipeline where you can select reference anatomical models, and in the future also personalized model, and you try to optimize the electrode placement. You have a lot of optimization tools. You can do a sweeping and verify the distribution, the optimal distribution, and the electrode placement. The end of the optimization pipeline, you will have a report where the optimal placement is provided, and eventually if you have an operator, for example, you have a device like the one we developed, you can provide to the operator, and the operator starts his clinical investigation based on the optimal placement. And this is happening almost routinely now. I will be now very quick because time is passing. This is an important topic, spinal cord stimulation. So this work has been done together actually with EPFL, with a group of Grégoire Cortel that you probably know. So the collaboration initiated many years ago, and the idea is that can we try to personalize spinal cord stimulation? And the answer is now yes, and now it's been done continuously. So the idea was to try to, with the help of in silico model, try to optimize the placement of the stimulation according to the specific lesion and the anatomy of the patients. So what we did, we assist in developing segmentation pipeline and also incorporate the modeling part of it and predict the neuroelectric response. So this is our pipeline look in the OSPARC pipeline, and this is what they actually use, the group of the workers can use to personalize spinal cord stimulation. We provide a graphic user interface that also the surgeon and the different person involved in the spinal cord stimulation can inspect the different phases. And what they found out is that if they classical procedure, the guidelines were saying where to place the electrodes, is the red part. But if simulation says you should have placed in a different way, and this is the actual place where they actually identify the optimal placement. So this is very close to what the prediction said. So this was very successful, and the work is still ongoing together with a group of Gregoire Cortel. The last two things are recording of biomagnetic signal. Simply, we try to enter into the details of the neuroelectric activity of the brain. And this is, for example, an example of calculation of the magnetic field generated by a large group of neurons provided by the Human Brain Project. And this is important if you want to develop technologies that are, for example, microcoils that detect the magnetic field of neurons. We predict MAG, for example, that is interesting, but we can also predict, for example, the magnetic field or the electric field generated by the propagation of electric activity in, for example, this case, the median nerve. We can predict also compound action potential. In short, all this technology for sensing together with stimulation is in the direction of closed-loop technologies. Safety assessment, this is closer maybe to you. Peripheral nerve stimulation. You know that in MRI, there can be the tendency is to go to a higher gradient because of better diffusion and large quality of the images, etc., etc. So, but the problem is that the higher gradient you have, the more the risk of peripheral nerve stimulation exists. So, in some study, what we did, we try to personalized stimulation, so to understand what is the threshold for stimulation for different part shape and also different gradient units. And we identify regions where stimulation can happen. We did also a clinical trial on our own to validate all these predictions. Also, we do wireless power transfer. I told before that we need to assess safety of the technology with respect to other technology. If you have an implant and you have the coil above it, that's important. And last work, but I will skip this one, safety of device per se. So this temporal interference stimulation has been applied now by many research groups, and some of them, they even put implants, for example, ECG electrode to contemporarily measure the distribution of the field, and we need to assess safety. So this is a lot of work, and the last topic is uncertainty analysis. So I told all these applications because I wanted to show you that in silico modeling are really important for different aspects of the medical device, safety, optimization, personalization, etc. Computational modeling is beautiful, but is subject to, relies on parameters, okay, relies on what you provide them, okay? So there is an uncertainty on model parameter, and we really care that an uncertainty budget is always provided when we provide results to our partners, okay? Because imagine that all the uncertainty of modeling results is an uncertainty in performance and is an uncertainty in safety quantities. So it's very important if you miss, you have a 2 millimeter uncertainty, and that's one to change the treatment. So uncertainty modeling is also important. In conclusion, the discovery, the development, and the implementation of medical technologies are very slow process and also very expensive. And silico modeling can help a lot on accelerating all these things and make things cheaper, according that the things are done properly. So at ETH we try to assist who wants to do research and want to accelerate this strategy. And we're now developing technologies to support all these kind of activities, both hardware and also software. And our modeling has been used and are currently used by many people, and we will be happy to, for many topics that you already saw, for example, brain modeling and in MRI implant safety, we will be happy to discuss and to collaborate with you in the future. Sorry if I took 1 minute more of your time.
Thank you, Antonino, for this very interesting talk. And I guess we still have time for 2 or 3 questions. Yes.
Thank you for the talk. So I was wondering where the ground truth comes from. Where the ground truth comes from, like when you compute all the electromagnetic fields.
So the modeling we do based on, so we don't do modeling that are generic, okay? So we always do models based on a collaboration that we are establishing with partners that have the possibility to do experiments, okay? So the ground truth comes from the experiments that you do, okay? This is one way to say. Another way to say is that we are collaborating, we try to be part of the collaboration even before the experiments start. Because we say, okay, look, if you want to have a validated model that you can use for all your production, for all your lifetime, okay, we need to be part together, we need to sit together to design the experiment that you have to do so that you can extract the quantities that we can verify with our experiments. In that way, we have validated models, and that way you can what we develop, our technologies, they come from validation that has been done already in the past. So we don't provide solutions that we have not validated yet.
I have one question related to peripheral neurostimulation. Do you think that, like, would it be possible to think of a personalized approach to that, like online approach, which can be personalized for a given patient to enable for using even higher gradients? Or are these limits are? Yeah.
There are some approach, we are working on it. One of the main problems, so we solved the problem of accelerating the part of the modeling that is the coupling of the electromagnetic field and the neuron to predict thresholds. We have a publication now that shows that we can accelerate up to even in 1 minute you have the result that instead was taking time, a couple of days probably, of computational time. So we solved the problem. The problem here is to have the trajectory of the trajectory of the main nerve in the body. That is still something complicated and something that we can think of, but it could be possible, I think, in the future. I don't know if there is someone in the chat.
There was no
Questions from online participants? Maybe one last question from me, because that paper on temporal interference was published in 2017, right? And
yes.
I was wondering, from your experience, how many years did it take to get to the market with this technology?
I think it's still quite a while. The reason is that we have proof that it works and works in many applications. The problem is that we still have not 100% clarified the mechanism of TI stimulations. We are working on hypotheses, we are working on comparison. As many results are comparable, so many things can be justified with theory, and many not. So we have an increasing demand on request on support for experiments. So I think still there is a bit of time needed to validate and to define the experiments, and then the application, so the bringing to the market. I think this could require still maybe a couple of years, but we are working on that one.
Thank you. Okay, so if there are no further questions, let's thank the speaker again.